Hi Stampin' friends, it's time for another Stamp Patties video. Today I'm going to do a video showing you how to make this card right here. This card was made not using rubber stamps. Well, the greeting is, but the focal point of the card is not using any rubber stamps. Most people know about our Big Idea booking catalog and also about our mini catalogs, but one of our most understated products is our Definitely Decorative or line of decor elements. In the very back of this catalog, you will find, Decor stencils. So this card was created using our stencils. The kit that I'm using is from the Vintage Ornament number 2, and I'm going to be using 2 of the pieces. One to create the ornament and then one to create the center. So here we go. Okay, so for our supply list, we are going to be using 3 pieces of cardstock. We are going to be using a piece of soft suede. The measurements of the soft suede are 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored down the middle. We are also using a piece of Baja Breeze. The Baja Breeze measures 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And for the top piece, which will contain our focal point, we'll be using a piece of Very Vanilla, which is 3 7/8 by 4 1/8. Again, don't forget we're going to be using the stencils, the Decor stencils from the Vintage Ornament number 2 set. We will be using the ornament cutout and we will be using the starburst cutout. For ink, we will be using Baja Breeze, Soft Suede, and Not Quite Navy. The ribbon that is on the card is going to be the I actually didn't have any Whisper White, so I have Very Vanilla Taffeta ribbon, and I'm going to show you how to color it. The final accent piece is the Season's Greetings, which I will be using the stamp set called For the Holidays. Don't forget your paper snips and your smooth as butter ribboned scissors, and we'll also need a piece of a sponge. Okay, so I've gotten my piece of Very Vanilla cardstock using the grid paper so that I can try to center my piece of cardstock and then also center my ornament stencil on top of that. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to use my sponge and I'm going to swipe it through my soft suede ink, and I'm using the soft suede for the top of the ornament piece. And so what I'm doing is actually just moving back and forth so that the ink on my sponge can get inside that loop onto the cardstock. The next step, I'm going to be taking the Not Quite Navy ink. Be careful that you don't move your stencil. I'm using the Not Quite Navy ink, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to swipe some of that ink around the outside edge of my ornament. I want it to be darker on the outside and lighter on the inside. So I'm starting with the darker ink, and I'm just going back over it to kind of smooth it out. And now I'm going to turn my sponge. This is a little bit messy, but it's worth it. I'm going to turn my sponge into the Baja Breeze ink, and I'm going to go ahead and put that all in the center. Now, I want some of the Very Vanilla to show through, so I'm not covering it completely. Okay, so I'm ready to remove my stencil now. And you can see, voila, that we have a really pretty image of our ornament. The next step is to take our, I call it a starburst or a snowburst stencil, and we're going to go ahead and put that into the center of our ornament. And I'm using the same piece of sponge. As you can see, this is a very messy job. When I'm done with this portion, I'm going to advise that you should wash your hands so that you don't mess up your actual cardstock. So one more time, I'm going into the soft suede ink. I'm using the soft suede ink on the snowburst, and I'm going to brush it fairly hard so that it can get into all these little grooves, going back into the ink, back onto the stencil. Just want to make sure that it goes into all those little cracks and crevices. Okay, I think I've got it the way I want it. And then I'm going to easily take this off. Ah, love it. Again, your fingers are messy, so be careful. And I have come up with an image that looks like this. Okay. Okay, so through the magic of TV, I've managed to wash my hands somewhat. Not everything comes off, but that's okay. I'm next going to be working with the taffeta ribbon, and I need to cut a piece that's going to be big enough to wrap around the focal point of the card and to tie a small bow. So I'm going to say roughly about 17 or 18 inches. I'm going to use my most favorite scissors in the whole world, which are the Stampin' Up! Craft and Rubber Scissors. If you don't have these, ladies, you are depriving yourself. These scissors are just like a hot knife through a stick of cold butter. You'll thank yourself every day that you got these. Okay, moving along, what we're going to do is, I didn't have any soft suede ribbon, and I really wanted to tie together the soft suede that's in the starburst of the card. So I took my vanilla ribbon, and again, I'm going to get a little messy, but that's okay. We're going to wash our hands again. I'm going to take my sponge and my soft suede. I'm going to ink it up really good, and then what I'm going to do is I am going to start at, actually I'm going to start at this far end, and I'm going to take my sponge and actually I've got a piece of paper that I've already used for this purpose, so I'm going to do that. Get this out of the way. I'm going to take this and I'm going to start on the end, and I'm going to drag it across my ribbon, wiping it, inking, wiping, inking, and I'm going to do this to both sides of this ribbon, and then I'm going to let it dry. Okay, so through the magic of TV, our ribbon is now dry, and it has been dyed with the soft suede classic ink. I'm now taking my ribbon, and I am just doing nothing more than tying a bow with the ribbon. This is one of the reasons that Stampin' Up! Has really focused on the white and vanilla ribbons, so that you can then color them whatever color you'd like. You can use your classic ink, you can use your markers, you can use craft ink. I'm just going to, oh, those scissors are incredible. Okay, so I have now put my bow on there. I'm going to go ahead and use my snail adhesive. I'm even going to put a little on top of the ribbon so it doesn't slide. Okay, I've already mounted my Baja Breeze onto my soft suede, so now I'm going to go ahead and mount this piece. I've left a 1/4 inch border all the way around. Ooh, I am so liking this. So liking this. I think it's just missing one thing, so I'm going to show you how I did the grading. Okay, so using the Season's Greetings image from the set called For the Holidays, I also used our Not Quite Navy ink, and I inked it up really well and stamped on a piece of very vanilla paper. What I then did was I took my paper snips and I trimmed really close to the grading, and I also created, like, I wanted to make it look like a little banner, so I just kind of snipped in and made these, I guess I would call them like a little V. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to take a piece of Not Quite Navy scrap paper. I'm going to glue this down, and I'm going to cut close to it. I just want to make a Not Quite Navy border for it. Okay, so our next step, I'm actually just going to bend this through my fingers to kind of break up the fibers a little bit so that it's more pliable, because I want it to sit on my card so that it looks like it's kind of waving. So what I'm doing next is I'm taking a couple of pieces of dimensionals, Stampin' dimensionals, and putting them on the side that's actually going to be stuck to the card, so kind of on the edges. Peeling those back. Almost. There we go. Okay, so I'm thinking I don't want to cover up the thingy that hangs, makes it look like it's hanging. All right, I think I like it right there, and voila, there we have it. That is a card that is created using the Decor stencils found in our Definitely Decorative catalog. Happy stamping!